example 3 is kind of putting this all together, but we don't have to add like terms. This is identifying the various components of the polynomial. So we want to know the degree. Remember, the degree is the highest exponent. So this is one term. It has a degree of the highest exponent, which in this case, the exponent isn't written. It's right there. It has a degree of 1. Now, the exponents for this one are, there we go. So the exponents for this term, the degree is 3. The exponents for this one, that's 3 plus 1 is 4. This has no exponents, so degree of 0. And this has 1 exponent, so degree of 1. So I've got 3, 4, 0, 1. The highest is 4. So we say, hey, that's degree 4. Now this has a degree of 3 plus 2 is 5. That's 5. This is 7. And this is 6. So 7 is the highest degree. This has no exponents, so it has a degree of 0. This one, there's a 1 there. This has a degree of 1. This has a degree of 0. So 1 is the highest. And this is a degree of 5. And this has a degree of 5. So they're matched, meaning 5 is the highest. Now when it says type, we're just looking for names. So how many terms? If it's got 1 term, we say monomial. 2 is binomial. 3 is trinomial. And then 4 or more, we just call polynomial. So just remember too that terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So there's no plus or minus signs. This is just 1 term, so we say it's a monomial. This has 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 4. We don't have a name for that. We just say polynomial. And then this has 1, 2, 3 terms. Three things that are separated by pluses or minus. So that 3 is trinomial. There's only just one thing. It's a -1 or a -1. But again, the minus sign is not separating anything. It's just part of the 1. So we say it's a monomial. Can't spell apparently, monomial. But it does have a special name because it has no letters. We call that the constant. This has a plus sign that's in between 2 things. So we say that is, if there's 2 things, it's binomial. There's 2 terms. As well as there's a minus sign in between 2 terms. So we say that's also binomial because there's 2 terms. Yeah, okay, that's good. Variables. Just what are the variables in there? So there's only an x in this one. This one here has got an a, b, and a c. This has x, comma, y. Those are the variables. This has none. There's a w in there, and there's an x and a y. It doesn't want the exponents, doesn't want any numbers. It's just what are the variables. Now, coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables. So the number in front of this x is just a 5. So there's a coefficient of a 5. I'm going to erase these exponents here. So now I'm looking at in front of the variable here, in front of the variables here, in front of the variables here. So it looks to me, I have to put those 1s in there. So at the beginning I've got a 1, so the coefficient is a 1. And then this one's got a 4, a positive 4, so I'll put a positive 4. And this one's got a -1, so I'll put a -1. So don't forget to include that negative symbol. The -2 here is not a coefficient because coefficients are only the numbers in front of the letters. So here's some letters, so the number in front of there. Here's some other letters, so the number in front of there. And here's some other letters, so the number in front of there. So those looks to me like a +5, a -7, and there is no number here, but it is a 1, so a -1. Those are my coefficients. Remember, they're only in front of letters. So in this one, there are no letters. Therefore, I cannot have any coefficients. So there's no variables. See, we wrote there are none. So if there's no variables, there can't be any numbers in front of a variable. Now you look at the variables. There's only the w there. What number is in front of that? Just a 1. So we say the coefficient is a 1. And then we take a look here. What number is in front of there? And what number is in front of there? Well, there are no numbers, but that's because they're 1s. So we would say there is a 1 as a coefficient in this one, and a 1 as a negative 1, as a coefficient there. So 1 and negative 1. Now a constant is the last part, I think. Yeah. The last part here is the number that has no letter. And so you would have had to look up at the top, and you can see, I think we kind of did a little bit of defining there, but we can write them down if I forgot. We'll see here. So a constant is, let's write it down. That is the number with no letter. Compare that to a coefficient. It is the number in front of the letter or letters, the variables. So we're looking for a constant right now. That is the number that has no letters attached to it. So let's take a look here. The first one, there's a 5, but it's attached to a letter. So there is none. There's no number that is by itself. We're looking for a number that's by itself. Oh, there's one here. So in the second one, there is a number that's by itself. We say that's a -2. Are there any in here? Nope, the 5, the -7, and the -1 are also attached to letters. Oh, in this one, there is a -1. And the previous one was none. This one right here, this -1, that is not attached to a letter. In fact, even this one, this +1, is not attached to a letter. So it's just a +1. You could just instead write 1. You don't have to write the positive symbol. And here, there are no numbers that are alone, so we would just say none. So there is a practice one of these, a practice example in the worksheets that I think would be really important for you to do. This question is on the test, and I have it just like this exact same table for you to fill out. I just changed what's over here, okay? In fact, sometimes I might change the order of these as well. So you really want to pay attention as to the variables mean letters. Coefficients mean the numbers in front of the letter. Constant is the number that is not attached to a letter. Type is the name. Degree, so you need to know all of those and then put them all in this table.